Imagine a single individual whose vision shattered centuries of artistic tradition. An artist so prolific, so audacious, that he didn't just adapt to the modern world. He helped create it. This is the story of Pablo Picasso, a name synonymous with artistic revolution, a man whose life was as colorful and complex as his canvases. Born in Malaga, Spain, in 1881, Pablo Ruiz Picasso showed an uncanny talent from a very young age. His father, Don José Ruiz Blasco, was an art teacher and painter himself, and recognized his son's extraordinary gift. Legend has it that Pablo's first word was piz, short for lapis, the Spanish word for pencil. By 13, his technical skill surpassed his father's. By 16, he was already enrolled in Madrid's prestigious Royal Academy of San Fernando, though he often skipped classes, finding the formal instruction too restrictive for his burgeoning genius. From the outset, Picasso was a rebel. He quickly mastered the conventions, only to then break them apart. He instinctively understood that art wasn't just about copying reality. It was about interpreting it, reinventing it. Like so many ambitious young artists, Picasso eventually gravitated towards the vibrant art capital of the world, Paris. It was here, amidst the bohemian cafes and studios of Montmartre, that his early distinct styles began to emerge. The turn of the century brought with it personal tragedy and hardship, the suicide of his close friend Carles Casagemas, poverty, and disillusionment. This profound sadness seeped into his work, giving birth to his Blue Period, from roughly 1901 to 1904. His palette shifted almost entirely to shades of blue, green, and gray. His subjects were often outcasts, beggars, and the working poor, depicted with elongated forms and a palpable sense of melancholy. These paintings are imbued with a deep empathy, reflecting his own struggles and a profound understanding of human suffering. Works like The Old Guitarist or La Vie are quintessential examples, haunting and unforgettable, capturing a universal human experience of sorrow and isolation. But Picasso's emotional landscape, and thus his art, was never static. By 1904, a new light entered his life, Fernande Olivier, a beautiful French artist's model. Their passionate and often tumultuous relationship, alongside a growing fascination with circus performers and harlequins, signaled a dramatic shift in his art. This became known as his Rose Period, lasting from about 1904 to 1906. The blues gave way to warm oranges, pinks, and earthy tones. The subjects were still often marginalized figures, but now imbued with a sense of grace, agility, and a quiet dignity. The circus folk, acrobats, jugglers, clowns, became metaphors for the artist himself, outsiders, performers, observers of life. His masterpiece, Family of Saltimbanques, beautifully encapsulates this era, showcasing a group of performers, seemingly united yet isolated in their shared existence. The mid-1900s brought another seismic shift. Picasso, along with his friend and collaborator Georges Braque, began to challenge the very foundations of Western art. Inspired by African tribal masks and Iberian sculpture, they questioned the single-point perspective that had dominated painting since the Renaissance. This led to Cubism, one of the most radical and influential art movements of the 20th century. The seminal work, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon from 1907, is often cited as the precursor to Cubism. Its jarring angles, fragmented figures, and confrontational gaze shocked the art world. Picasso depicted 5 nude prostitutes, not as objects of beauty, but as fragmented, almost threatening figures, their faces inspired by primal masks. Cubism sought to depict subjects from multiple viewpoints simultaneously, breaking them down into geometric forms and reassembling them on the canvas. This wasn't about distorting reality. It was about showing a more complete, intellectual reality. Analytical Cubism involved dissecting subjects into geometric shapes and muted colors. Later, synthetic Cubism introduced collage elements, newspapers, wallpaper, adding texture and a new dimension to the flat surface, literally bringing fragments of the real world into the art. This was a direct challenge to the idea of art as a window onto the world. Instead, it was an object in itself. Picasso's personal life was as dynamic and complex as his art, often serving as a direct catalyst for new styles and themes. He was notoriously charismatic, and women played a pivotal role as muses, lovers, and often victims of his relentless pursuit of artistic and personal freedom. His first wife was Olga Koklova, a Russian ballerina he met in 1917. Their marriage coincided with a period of neoclassicism in his work, reflecting a return to more traditional forms, perhaps influenced by Olga's classical beauty. But Picasso's passions were not easily contained. In 1927, he began a secret affair with Marie-Thérèse Walter, who was only 17. Her youthful sensuality infused his work with a new exuberance, leading to vibrant, curvilinear forms and often explicit eroticism. These were years of intense creativity and passion, though shadowed by his continued marriage to Olga. His relationship with the surrealist photographer Dora Maar, beginning in the late 1930s, brought a darker, more intellectual edge to his art. Maar was his intellectual equal, a fellow artist, and a witness to some of the most turbulent times in his life and in history. Her image, often distorted and weeping, became an iconic representation of suffering during the Spanish Civil War and World War II. The backdrop of Europe's political upheaval profoundly impacted Picasso. Though living in Paris, the Spanish Civil War tore at his heart. In 1937, Nazi Germany bombed the Basque town of Guernica, an act of horrific brutality against civilians. The Republican Spanish government commissioned Picasso to create a mural for the Spanish Pavilion at the 1937 Paris International Exposition. The result was Guernica, a monumental, black-and-white masterpiece that remains one of the most powerful anti-war statements in art history. It's a harrowing depiction of suffering, innocent victims, and the senseless brutality of war. The fragmented figures, the screaming horse, the dying soldier, the bull, all rendered in a Cubist surrealist style, convey universal anguish. Picasso famously declared, "Painting is not done to decorate apartments. It is an instrument of war for attack and defense against the enemy." Picasso remained in Paris throughout World War II, a defiant figure who refused to compromise his art or his principles, despite constant scrutiny from the Gestapo. His work from this period often reflected the darkness and privation of the occupation. Even in his later years, Picasso's creative energy was boundless. He continued to reinvent himself, exploring new mediums and styles. After World War II, his relationships with Françoise Gillet, a younger artist and mother of two of his children, Claude and Paloma, and later Jacqueline Roquet, who became his second wife, brought new inspirations. He delved into ceramics, sculpture, printmaking, and continued to produce thousands of paintings. He reinterpreted old masters like Velázquez and Delacroix through his own unique lens, constantly pushing the boundaries of what art could be. His late work is characterized by vibrant colors, expressive brushstrokes, and an unwavering zest for life and creation, often returning to themes of the artist and his model, bullfighting, and the female form. Pablo Picasso died in 1973 at the age of 91, leaving behind an astonishing legacy of over 50,000 artworks. He was a force of nature, a tireless innovator who challenged conventions, embraced contradiction, and lived life on his own terms. His impact is immeasurable. He didn't just create new art forms. He fundamentally changed how we see and understand art. He showed us that art isn't just a reflection of reality, but a way to reshape it, to express the deepest human emotions, and to provoke thought. From his blue melancholia to his Cubist revolution and his impassioned cries against war, Picasso's journey was one of constant evolution, a relentless pursuit of new ways to see and to create. He wasn't just an artist. He was a revolutionary, and his spirit continues to inspire and challenge us today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and art of a true master. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of art.